Maybe we could speak here for a moment, if you care to, about a distinction between human and person. Are you a human or are you a person? So allow me, if you will, to create for you my distinction that I've been carrying for these two things for 40 or so years. A human is a person who would not be angry, upset, jealous, having to be right, controlling. A human would be a person who faces what it is that they have in the moment and complete it in the moment. A person would be someone who allows war, gets angry, gets upset, yells, screams, and hollers. And if you can consider one individual person becoming upset at their husband, at their wife, at their child, at their aunt or uncle, whoever it might be, and they're all, pardon me, pissed off, and they're really angry, and they're screaming, and they're multiply that times a few million, and you have world war, which is what we've been having for thousands of years, wars. So perhaps take a look at and ask yourself this question. Which dimension are you bringing your life forward from? Are you being a human or a person? Do you get angry? You're a person. Do you accept what is? You're human. A human would never, as I've said, rape or kill, maim, murder, go to war, argue, fight, scream, holler. A person or people would argue, fight, scream, go to war, rape. They would even, well, demean themselves to a point where they might be homeless and addicted and all sorts of things. So if we can take a close look at this, we could discover that the difference is this, or the distinction is this. A human lives life from intelligence, from creation, intelligence, and truth. And there is no anger in creation, intelligence, and truth. There's only what is, there's only living in the now, living in the present. A person or people would live from their history, from what already has been, from already knowing. Somebody came in here. Let's see. Hello, Rowan Lamons from the Philippines. Welcome. So, if you can consider this, people, or if you're a person, are the ones that live in and cause world wars. They are people who would identify themselves as a man or a woman or an American or a Republican or a Democrat or whatever, all those attachments, all of those things that keep us fighting with each other. Obviously, once you have identified yourself as something, then all the other somethings are less than you. They're not quite. If you're an American, then you're quite a bit better than one of them, one of them low life English people, or those low life Japanese people, or the horrible low life. Let's see, who did I leave out here? Jewish people, or whatever it is. The moment you attach yourself to a label, then all the other come underneath you. So the question I'm asking here is, do you live your life from creation, intelligence, and truth, or do you live your life from knowledge and thought and belief? If you live your life from knowledge and thought and belief, then you're going to go from, if you're a male, this female to this female to this female to this female to this female. You're going to go through all sorts of breakups, them leaving you or you leaving, all those. And who knows, 1, 2, 3 marriages, and they're all going to fail, or you're just going to put up with each other. If you live from creation, intelligence, and truth, then you fix all of that. You find a manner in which to no longer have that be the case. I apologize for my poor manner in which I'm putting this forth. As my excuse, if you will, there's really no way to have a conversation about this because it has to do with distinctions. And distinctions are almost, well, they are invisible unless you can see the distinction. So the distinction between a man, if you will, and a male, most people would say there's no distinction. There's no difference between a man and a male. I'm suggesting there is. You see, a male can prove, beyond question, that he's a male. I mean, he might have to get over a bit of embarrassment about that tiny little thing that's hanging down there, but he can prove that he's a male. Same thing with a female. The proof can be put forth. You can undress and stand in front of the person and say male, female. Now, man or woman, either way, where's the proof of that? If you ask 100 people, 10 people, what a man is, you're going to get perhaps 10 different or 100 different answers. A man, a real man, kneels in the front of the church. A real man carries a gun in one hand and the Bible in the other. A real man does this, or a real woman, all of those things. Wears chandeliers on her ears and red stuff on her. All of the things that we see if we can put forth to show that we are of one gender or the other, when the only thing that's really needed is the proof of it, which we obviously can't go around and do because then we're arrested for indecent exposure, what they call. So, in your life, as you live it, are you human or are you a person? A human is someone who would never become angry, never need to get even, be jealous, have to be right, control everything. A person, obviously, is the obvious mirror image. As I've said in other videos, Knowledge, thought, and belief are the mirror image of creation, intelligence, and truth. And we on planet Earth live in the consciousness now. I say now because at one time we didn't. We now live in the consciousness of knowledge, thought, and belief, and we're trapped there. And as a matter of fact, the more we think about what to do to get out of the trap, the deeper into the trap we go. And even worse, each generation is a bit dumber, more ignorant, more confused than the generation before, because it invents new reasons, new justifications, new explanations for its stupidity. There's one thing necessary for each person to see their ignorance, to see their stupidity. And that thing that's necessary is intelligence. And intelligence says, oh Lord, look how stupid I am. Oh, what did I say? Oh Lord? Well, pardon me for the Lord part. Look how stupid I am. Look what the stupidity of this is. I live on a planet where I get angry. I get upset. I yell at the people that I say I love. And then we have a war. And I think that it's them who's causing the war, when it's me. Because multiply my anger, my jealousy, my upset, what those things are, by a few million people, put it into the atmosphere, and what do you have? A world war. So I went a long way around to say we are each 100% responsible for the killings, the bombings, the maimings, and the murders. We're responsible for the rapes of women, the rapes of our children, throwing them in cages and ripping them away from their parents and throwing them into cages where they get raped and were sold into sexual slavery. So here's my suggestion as to what is the answer to all of that. The answer to all of that is to ask yourself this question. Are you human or are you a person? Are you people? People can kill each other. People can rape each other and have a good excuse, a good reason. I'm ADHD or I'm PH2 or I was born that way, or all of the nonsensical things people have. People say we went to war, we killed millions of people because, or we can even say we killed this guy because he killed people. And that makes us better because we killed him or her because they killed. That's like the extreme ignorance of self-defense. If you're in a situation where someone's about to kill you, harm you, or whatever it might be, and rather than moving yourself out of harm's way, rather than intelligently handling the situation, you kill them. So who then is the greater violence? Where does the greater violence live? Is it in the person that's dead or the one that killed him? See, we think that killing the person who killed or was about to kill makes us less violent than them, when the actuality is we then put into the atmosphere, the world, a greater or higher level of violence than the one who would have perpetrated whatever they had in mind for us. So keep in mind that this conversation almost isn't a conversation. It's a dissertation. It's something that I'm putting forth here. I'm suggesting that each of you who are listening here, all the thousands and thousands, pardon me, let me lie here for a moment, all the millions of people who are listening, each one of you are 100% responsible for our world wars, the raping of our women, the horrid treatment of children, and the absolute and complete failure of, if you're an American, the American government is a complete failure. It was a failure the day it was formed by people who owned slaves, talking about all people are created equal during the day, and then they went home to their slaves. So I think 300 Washington had and 150 Jefferson had, and they slept with them, raped, whatever they wanted to do at nighttime or on the weekends. And then what we hear from our history teachers, keep in mind the winner writes the history lessons. Always, please, in your own mind, keep in mind the winners write the history books. If you ever wrote, as I have, a book about your life, then you'll see what I'm speaking about. Because when it comes a time when there's a little bit of a doubt, you always put it on the other person. Yeah, whoa, you're not. Can't be you who's causing the world wars, even though you are the world. You indeed are the world. So let's just take that one statement, you are the world, and then you look at the world and ask yourself, what shape is our world in? What shape has it been in? Have Genghis Khan and Popeye and Hitler and Hitler's clone Donald Trump? Well, he hasn't caused any wars other than American wars. Have they all brought forth wars? If they have, then you did it, not them. It is never them. It's always you. It's always me. As long as we accept the world that our parents presented to us, let me put it in another way. The moment we accept the world that our parents present to us after our birth, we're lost. The problem here is we accept that world before we have the opportunity to look at it. Then after we accept it, suddenly we become a boy or a girl or a man or a woman, a Republican or a Democrat, an American or a Jap guy, a Japanese person or a chink. Let's see who the chinks are. Oh yeah, the chinks are the Chinese people, yes. And them damn Jews are the Jewish people. All of those things, we accept them into our life. And then we perpetuate them. We keep them going. Just consider something, a funny consideration here. Then I'm going to sign off. Let's consider that we were born with the ability to speak. Which, by the way, when we learned to speak, that was our demise and the greatest thing we could ever have happened. Both things at the same time. But let's say we're born with the ability to see the world as it is that we're coming into, and we could speak. If that were the case, then we'd look at him and say, ho, 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 no way, Jose. I happen to be a little bit Spanish, so I speak Spanish. No way, Jose is Spanish for I'm not going to accept it. Then we wouldn't accept the world that our parents presented to us. As they did, they accepted the world that their parents on back thousands of years. So here's my premise. We couldn't do it at our birth. However, let's create the possibility together here to do it now. To say, no way, Jose. Where is Jose anyway? He's out there having a taco somewhere, I'll bet. To say, no way. I do not accept this world of lying, cheating, stealing, of wars, of killings, of maimings, of raping women and throwing children into cages and having to be right. Always, always having to be right and control everything. Just simply say, no, I do not. Now, I do not. Then I did. But at my age of 2, 3, 8, 10, 12, 15, 30, 70, 80, 90. By the way, it gets older. It gets harder the older you hear this. As of now, I do not accept this world that has been presented to me. And as I have been doing for 41 years, I'm going to do everything that I can do to end this world of suffering and misery, pain, wars, and killings. That's possible for you to do right now. Just say, I am completely 100% against all and everything that this world has presented to me and that I accepted. There's a whole nother action that will happen after that. But I can't tell you about that one because then that might induce you to do what I'm asking you to do. What I'm asking you to do needs to be done for no other reason other than you see the insanity of the world that you accepted. Anyway, I've gone on for 22 minutes and 33 seconds and counting. My mistake. I apologize. I'll see if I can make it shorter next time for you. What do they call that? I give attention deficit people. Here we go again. I can't get that thing to go off.